If it means that I'm dying on the way to
the motherland, then
you know what?
Look at Brian, like, don't say that. I'm about to plead the blood of Jesus over that plane. I have my little oil. When I get on it, I'm just gonna do like this on each plane that I do, and say a little prayer.
So we fly Delta, and I've never had issues with Delta.
Delta just had a wing catch on fire yesterday.
I know I'm doing the naming ceremony. I paid for it.
Yeah. What if they tell you your name Brian?
One of the things, when I told somebody I was going to Africa, they're like, oh, well, make sure you have a lawyer on you. I was like...
That's what my mama said, and I was like, oh no, they might not let me back. Oh,
right, I was
no.
like, oh, I guess I'll have to stay in Africa then.
Guess I live in Ghana now. So sad.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of the Self-Aware Millennial podcast. I am your humble host, J.Mix. We are back. We are still black. We are in 2025. I know I have not seen y'all since 2024, and I don't apologize. You know why? Because I've been getting my credit card debt paid down and everything. But that's not why we're here right now. We are actually, I wanted to do this special episode because I'm about to embark on a journey that is probably going to change my life forever. Yes, y'all, I'm going to the motherland. We're going to put that music right here. We're going to put some kind of like background. Mm-hmm. But I will be going to Ghana for the International Black Theater Summit in Accra, Ghana. And we'll be there for a little over a week, and we're just gonna be making cultural connections with Black theater makers around the globe. And I'm extremely excited. I'm saying this now, and I know I'm just kind of word vomiting, and it hasn't really processed me yet because I haven't gone, but I wanted to invite friends of the show, Lauren Turner and Brian Egland, back on, because they will be going with me, and we're going to be also experiencing this all together. Have y'all been to Africa?
No, I mean, we're a delegation. So it's a part of the We Will Dream official delegation to the International Black Theater Summit. That's so that we're representing the We Will Dream New Works Festival there.
Yes, because that's the closer for the We Will Dream Festival. Y'all remember the We Will Dream Festival 2 years ago that I was a part of. This is the second year, and I'll be doing a lot of documenting through film, and I'll be doing a bunch of interviews with Lauren, with Brian, hopefully some of the other theater makers over there. And I'm really excited. So I wanted to do this episode so we can kind of reflect on that before we go. And then hopefully we come back and we can debrief. Mm-hmm. So I would like to first and foremost start off with just kind of seeing where your head is at. Like, how are you preparing yourself for this trip? And what do you hope to get out of it?
Yeah, I mean, first, I think it's important to start with like how this all came to be. Mm-hmm. So I remember everyone starting in 2024 started to ask about the second iteration of the festival. And to be honest, y'all, you know how much work went into that. I was completely depleted. I had no intention of being able to do year 2 of the festival, and they're definitely not the same amount of resources. And I was talking to my good friend, Dr. Monica White Nandu, who is the founder and executive director of the Craft Institute, who manages the International Black Theater Summit. It is the legacy summit of August Wilson's Black Theater Summit that happens in Boston every year. And she was telling me about this trip to Accra. And she was telling me about it as a dream space really for Black theater makers and artists and filmmakers to come together and to be able to envision what the next 100 years of our making looks like and how we can connect across the water, across the diaspora, to be able to start to envision and move forward together and kind of eliminate these barriers that are false and built up for us in the United States, or the ways in which our thinking is limited about who we are and what we're connected to. Because when reality, when you think about that, the diaspora, the African diaspora, our potential is limitless because there are so many of us. We're actually like a majority and not this minoritized group of people that we kind of sometimes can, if we're not careful, fall into in the States. And so I said, that sounds so amazing. She invited me onto the planning committee, and she also said this: why don't you and a few delegates from the We Will Dream Festival come to the summit? It'll be the rest that you need. It'll be the dream space that you need. You can envision what 2027 looks like. You don't have to make the 2025 festival look like 2023 just because. It can be whatever you need it to be. Yeah. And I said, okay. And I said, well, what would that take? And so we took our, like, some of our modest funds for this year, which wasn't the same as 2023, and said, you know, put out this call to people who were integral in the process of the 2023 festival to see who would have the capacity and availability to join us and be a part of this delegation. I reached out to a good friend of mine, Nia Weeks, who is the founder of Wanda Academy, which is an all-girls school in Ghana. And she had been asking me for No Dream Deferred to come and do a workshop forever. And so I said, now might be the time. I'm coming to Ghana for this summit. And so we kind of, you know, had the opportunity to actualize some things that we had been talking about for a long time. So for me, this trip represents a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to rest and to dream and to be expansive in my thinking, to be of service, and to be connected to something that's way larger than me. That's what this is, an opportunity to do, and to do it in the company of y'all.
Yeah, like, we have such a good trio. Even like in 2023, yeah, like I do feel like we really do work together well as a team. I want to get information from Brian on just your thoughts. I'm sorry, not information, just some thoughts on like how you're processing this upcoming trip. I know you just got back from New York, so now you're about to get back on a plane, and I think we actually have a layover in New York before we head like out. So how are you feeling about it?
First, it is not easy to leave the country. So this is definitely a labor to leave the country. But I think everything that takes work, does reap a benefit. So I've been pushing myself to make sure I check all the boxes that I can, and I kind of always kind of do the most. So I probably did a little bit more than I probably needed to do. But I'm excited. I don't know what to expect because I'm not. This is my week to kind of prepare myself and read some of the stuff that I haven't read yet. But I don't know what to expect. But there's a certain theme happening in my life, and it's home. Um, I am writing a play about my hometown. I went to New York, but I went to New York to, for the first time, be in physical space with the residency that I'm a part of, in which that's my artistic home currently. And I get to go back. I get to go to Africa for the first time. I go back to Africa, which feels like a homecoming as well. So I feel this sense of home, and I'm curious to explore what that will manifest in my life and what that means. And I think with a lot of things going on in the United States, I think it's a really pivotal time to expand as well, as people, as Black people, as artists. So I'm excited for all of those things. Um, I'm hoping to feel a sense of connection. Every time I've ever heard stories about Black people going to Africa, they feel a sense of connection that's unexplainable. And I hope that it answers some questions that I have that I don't have words for the question. There's something in your spirit. I'm excited to connect with other theater artists as well, uh, beyond America, beyond Louisiana, and to see what theater is for them, and to see what I can contribute as well. I think one thing for myself as an artist, I'm expanding who I am as an artist, because always, for the most part, it's been confined to the booth, to Louisiana. And in this month, is I'm being expanded really fast. So I'm excited to see the artist that I am amongst other artists, and I'm also hoping to hear some music That's what I'm really hoping to hear. I'm hoping to hear a melody that kind of, whether it's in a song playing on the radio or maybe someone singing, that really kind of inspires me for personal reasons.
Thank you, Brian. Lauren, I want to have, because I mean, I've been probably reading over the guide that we're going by for the trip and just the itinerary, and I was reading and I was just like, wow, we're doing all of this. Like the first couple of days will primarily be like within the confines of the location that we're staying at, but we are going to get a chance to venture out into some of the villages and probably, hopefully, I hope, meet some of the people that make up where we're going to be. And I'm wondering about the itinerary and like, I know there's a naming ceremony, is that correct?
That was optional, but you can participate in a naming ceremony to receive a tribal name, which can be very meaningful. I was talking to a good girlfriend of mine who's actually going like right after we get back, and she was like, "I already got a name." And I was like, "Yeah, that's a take, that's a take." But yeah, there's a naming ceremony. We're gonna be able to explore the city of Accra, the marketplace, the clubs. I'm looking forward to the music as well.
Clubs.
I'm looking forward to the food. I want to try this Ghanaian jollof because Nigeria and Ghana are battling it out right now over who makes the best jollof, even though I heard that Liberia on the low got the best. We know that it started in Senegal, and we're coming, from New Orleans, where we're like, ain't this all just jambalaya? So this is a whole cultural situation. The banku, like all of the foods that I've heard so much about. I'm really interested in exploring that. And then I'm trying to get by that water. So on the day that we go to do our workshop, there's all of these other wraparound excursion things that are built into that day. So number one is that we're going to go to the Cape Coast, and we're going to be able to go to the dungeons, the slave dungeons, which everyone is like, be prepared for all of the emotions that come up, or the point of no return, as a lot of people talk about it. So this is the place where, for a lot of people, this is the last time that they were home, before embarking on this transatlantic journey to hell, essentially. People can also experience the last bath. I don't know about that for me personally. I feel like that's just might be a little bit much for me, but that's an option for people on this day.
The last bath.
So this is where you would bathe before you would be prepared to be put onto the slave ships.
Oh.
And we're gonna be on the beach. My good girlfriend, like I said, Nia Weeks, who's also one of the my beloved board members here at the André Cailloux Center, a major supporter of No Dream Deferred all throughout the years, has done this incredible thing and accomplished dual citizenship, both here and in Ghana, and has built this beautiful home with her partner Damien on the beach. And that they live in it, but it's also like an artist residency space. So we're gonna be spending a lot of time meeting local artists there, and also just having fun on the beach, having some drinks. People can go get a massage. People can relax.
I saw they gotta do like a little photo shoot with like, I think they said it's like
you
with
can
hair and makeup or something.
you could do a photo shoot. You could do, I think the theme of that day to me is like, you can do what you wanna.
Do whatever you want.
Do what you wanna, be who you wanna. And she was telling me that actually, beside her property, some US-based Black educators, higher ed educators, have purchased, I think she said 6 acres of land, and are rebuilding a retreat space for Black American educators to find respite. So there's a lot of interesting things that are happening in Ghana right now as people are returning home. They did that, what was it called? The Year of Return. They did the Year of Return, and so many people came, but people haven't stopped coming. People are still coming home. It's the west coast of Africa. A lot of us are from there. That's where a lot of the enslaved were stolen from. So there should be some along that coast. There is some potential connection, real connection, like bloodline connection. Are y'all bringing anything? Like I asked in my family, what's that chat? Beyond pictures. I'm having a strong desire to bring something, pieces, ephemera, artifact of like my matriarchal line that have gone on and
my
leaving
gosh.
it there.
Oh shoot, maybe I'll do that too.
I don't know. I'm still like, should I leave it? I'm still asking
I kind of
in
want to
meditation, do I leave it there or do I bring it with me? I know they're coming with me. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? But am I going to allow them to be home? Am I going to be the one to bring them home? You know, so I'm just thinking about a lot of the things that I want to be able to be still enough to experience. I don't want to be busy. I don't want to be so busy that I'm missing it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I didn't even think about that. I haven't even gotten that. I literally haven't even thought that far, but thinking about like bringing pictures or artifacts of like what my ancestors and people that have come before me, the people that I know about at the very least, you know.
Because have you been to the continent before?
I've never been to that continent before.
Brian, have you been?
I've never left America before, so this is
Oh,
the first.
Lord.
Your first
Oh, my God.
voyage across the big ocean, pond, whatever you want to call it, is to the motherland. That is a blessing.
Brian, I feel like I have been integrally involved in many of your firsts.
Oh, absolutely.
I love it. I don't know what that means, but I feel like it's been a lot of stuff. Like, this is my first time with this. This is my first time with that.
How do you feel? How do the people around you? Obviously, you've told people that you care about, like loved ones and stuff, that you're headed there. How do they feel about that? Like, are they excited for you as well? Like, supportive and.
The initial reaction was fear.
Yes,
Oh.
I concur.
Why do you think that is?
I'm the first. You know what I'm saying? So no one's done it before. No one's left America. We don't know what's out there.
Was it fear about leaving the country or was it fear about going to Africa?
Probably both. A fear about being on the planes as well.
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
Oh, yeah.
I don't think the fear is limited. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, unlimited fear. Oh, Lord.
Yeah, but I'm going through a process where I'm realizing that a lot of the fear that I've been living with is not my own.
Hey,
And I rebuke it, you know?
Yeah.
I had a lot of unfounded fears that people had about the continent. And it took me reading Ta-Nehisi Coates' book, the one he just put out. Lord forgive me, I forgot the name of the book. You know what I'm talking about, his newest book, where he talks about approaching the coastline of Senegal and having this moment of like, I don't want to misquote him, but I feel like he said it was this moment of like sadness and a little bit of shame as he really fully took stock of how much of that negativity he had internalized about this place that he's from. And then he was that he had this fear that like, what if when I land, it is not just as bad as they said, but it's worse. Yeah. And this is the place I'm from. But he was like immediately gratified by the fact that it was better than his wildest imaginations of what that place was. Yeah. But it just, in hearing it reflected back to me, specifically about Africa, I've just been really starting to understand how much internalized like BS about like, and then when you talk to continental Africans, they're like, everything that you're dealing with in the States is not even a thing. Now, I'm not saying they're not without struggle, but it's like, we over here living beautiful. Like,
yeah.
And you're scared of coming here? We scared of going there.
Yeah. I mean, I think of them, I personally think of anybody that still is on that continent. Like, they are so lucky. Like, they don't have to deal with colonialism. Well, I mean, they do in some kind of way, but like, it's not, I don't think it's in the same way where they don't lose who they are. They don't, like, they have more of a lineage. Majority, a lot of them, at least I think I do. I could be wrong. I'm gonna learn a lot when I leave. But I really do think that they seem more centered. And everyone that I've talked to that's either from there or have family from there, like, I don't know. I think in terms of the quality of conversations that I have with them, is their outlook on life is different. And I think it's just because of where they are. I don't know.
I mean, to not be removed from your home.
Yeah.
And your lineage and your blood is a thing, right? And it's like, I don't think we even realize how deep that trauma runs. And so, it's gonna be when we get there. We realize how deep that trauma runs. I just hope I'm not 2 days laid out crying, slain in the spirit for the first 2 days. Maybe that's why I'm going a little earlier to y'all, so I can be slain in the spirit, and then when y'all get there, I can be normal.
Yeah.
Like, okay, hey, welcome.
And then you can comfort us when we're bawling out.
I know.
So, obviously, people that are listening to this podcast or watching it a lot of us, I feel a lot of Black Americans or African Americans, however you identify, probably have never been to Africa before and want to know maybe the process of like getting to Africa. I know the process for me was kind of shaky at times because I've never had to apply for a visa. This is my first time. Like I went to Europe a couple of years ago, but didn't have to apply for a visa there. And I was just like, oh, this is interesting. But also then like having to get the shots and like take the medication and then like the little spray repellent that you're gonna have to, apparently, I don't know, is the mosquitoes bad? I don't know. So I'm curious about what y'all thought of the process of like even just being able to make sure you're approved to go to Africa.
I feel like you were on it, Brian. You were like, y'all need this and this and this, and then do this. And I was like, oh my gosh, thank you.
Thank you. I was trying because I didn't understand. Like I felt like I was getting new information every time I read something or I watched a video or I looked at the PowerPoint. I'm like, oh, I got to do this too? It was just a lot of steps. And what J.Mix was saying about the visa, I feel like the American government be using Windows 95 and typewriters sometimes, right? And I'm starting to feel like maybe that's the same way in other countries too, because like I was expecting the visa part you apply online. So I'm like, cool, but I wasn't expecting to have to print it out and mail it in. I'm like, why did I do it online then? And if anything, it's cool, but it gave a lot of anxiety because you didn't know how long it was going to take, with the mail process, and U.S. mail can, I don't know, could be unpredictable sometimes.
And then the times, just mailing off your passport right now, there was a lot of trepidation around releasing your passport if you have one and shipping it off, wondering if you're going to get it back. Is it going to be, when I sent out those videos and that initial email that had the information I passed on from Kraft, we lost probably about 4 people who were originally going to go. Just from this stake of feeling overwhelmed in the moment. And to your point, Brian, it was the press coverage that's continued about the planes and stuff like that. And then, people did feel overwhelmed. And I'm thinking about that as you're saying how much information it was to take in, so.
I definitely had like my reservations after like the plane crashes and the helicopter crash at this point. Like I was just like, ooh, I don't know, but like I was like, nope, what's for you is for you. And if it means that I'm dying on the way to the motherland, then you know what?
Look at Brian, like, don't say that.
because
I had this conversation, I was like, why are we putting this? Why is this being put on me?
when it's your time to go, it's your time to go.
Listen, I don't be worried about it. I'm about to plead the blood of Jesus over that plane. I have my little oil. When I get on it, I'm just gonna do like this on each plane that I do, and say a little prayer. And God got us.
But also, we fly on Delta, and I've never had issues with Delta.
Delta just had a wing catch on fire yesterday.
Don't.
But I will say, listen, so my girlfriend Chloe Teal, who's also a beloved board member here at ACC, she's on the planning committee. She left yesterday.
Okay.
I don't know what airline she was flying, but they sat on the tarmac for 3 hours and had to deplane because something was wrong. So I do feel like the airlines are being extra, like, what's that sound? Everybody get off. But then when she got reseated, she was sitting next to an Oshu chief from Ghana. And I was like, what? So she's like going to Ghana seated next to a chief. And I'm just like, that's magical right there.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm willing to die for that, but it's something. You know what I'm saying? It's something. Look at Brian.
Y'all, I've been trying to I'm trying to have my affairs in order.
Yeah.
I know. I know one of the things. The preparation for leaving is also like, what are you leaving behind? I'm trying to make sure like I have enough, like all my passwords written out just in case something happens.
Listen, y'all, get on that plane, take you a little melatonin, and call it a day.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Especially
A
that
sleepy
night.
pill.
Just go on and go to sleep.
Yeah.
Amen.
And that's the other thing I know I'm gonna have to adjust to is the jet lag. I'll probably experience.
That's why I tried to upgrade my seats, because I was like, especially being a part of the planet, I didn't want to land and be, needed 2 days to like get back when I know I'm gonna have to get on the ground. And also, Friday is my birthday.
Yes.
And I can't be tired for that. Okay?
That's gonna be fun.
I know, I can't wait. I can't wait.
Happy birthday to you.
Yay.
Birthday to you. Happy birthday.
Lauren, and Brian, I guess you can answer this too. Like, in terms of just like the reasoning behind We Will Dream and why it exists and why it continues to exist, and how now it's gone international within the 2 years.
Oh my gosh.
That it's gone international within 2 years. How do you feel We Will Dream will? I can only imagine if we if we will dream again, and not next year, but
2027.
But it almost makes me think there is a way to get Ghanaian or anyone from like theater makers, filmmakers, artists from there over here to do something.
That was the original plan. So when we officially wrote down the full dream for the festival, it was an international vision and really an international exchange. So it was an international exchange. But, we had to make different decisions. We didn't get all the funding that we needed to fully realize that for year one. So we went in a different direction. So that's what was so divine about Monica's invitation, was because it was like, we spoke a vision out loud, and it's kind of happening in the time that it needs to happen. You know what I mean? So I think, when we get there, my goal is, number one, some concentrated time for us to talk through, everything that we're doing for the workshop with all these young girls. Our workshop is on power through the telling of your own story. So it's not so much about like theater as it is, how do you own your own story in a way that it feels authentic and empowering? I think a lot of times Black people across the world, across the globe, feel like we have to dibble dabble in kind of like trauma in order to be seen. Not that it doesn't exist in our world, but we have a lot of inheritance, which was the first theme, that is empowering to us. So how do you tell your story, the challenges and all that, but still own it in a way that pushes you forward and allows you to feel good about what you do have, not just woe is me about what you think you don't have. So like that's really the core of the workshop, is giving that support to people young when they're young, you know what I mean? And then it's also like some time for us to sit down, the three of us, and really say like, what could 2027 look like? With the added benefit, if we want to be connected to the folks at the National Theatre of Ghana, if we want to talk to the group that's coming from Senegal about like what's possible, if we want to talk to funders that'll be there about like this type of international exchange, all of those resources and beginnings of those conversations can happen. But just honestly, just some time for us to dream. And I think sometimes, I sometimes regret calling No Dream Deferred, No Dream Deferred.
Why?
Because I feel like it put the work, and sometimes me personally, in a position where people have interpreted it as I'm supposed to create their dreams for them. You know what I'm saying? And it can be it felt really heavy at times. And so when I say dream in this sense, I'm not talking about let's build out the most fantastical version of whatever necessarily. I'm saying what feels generative, what feels completely within our capacity, so that we don't, once we finish 2027, we're not drained to the point where we don't want to do a 2029. We're not depleted, but like every year replenishes. What does it look like to build something that is replenishing to us as artists, as individuals, as community. And it kind of has compounded expansiveness, like with kind of like your bank account, right, with your interest. Like, how do we start capitalizing on the interest every festival year? Like, we gained this little bit, and now we're gonna turn that in 2028 into this little bit more bit, and this little bit more bit, until, like Monica's saying, this 100-year vision. If we were to continue for 100 years, we have this really rich thing that's just been these years of just compounded joy and connectivity and art, you know what I mean? Yeah. In some ways, I don't know if we'll ever accomplish what happened in 2023 again.
Not in that way, but I think just from the volume of what we did, it still made an impact, and I still feel like you can still make that same type of impact with less volume.
Yeah.
I really think that's
especially possible. If the volume is killing us.
Yes. There's definitely good systems that can be put in place in order to still make that impact in a way that, like Lauren was saying, that we're not feeling burnt out afterwards.
I mean, even this year, we still produced a featured production that was written by Black. It was ensemble driven, so it was a mostly Black ensemble telling the stories from the past that are connected to the land at City Park, talking about what freedom looks like in every generation. That was very well received, and everybody felt really good about what they had made together. You know what I mean? And so it was like the impact of that to everyone involved and to people who came to see it was tremendous. And that was on the level, I feel like, of 2023. This experience is gonna top everything for me in 2023. Like this alone is like the thing. We did a Zukar where we were able to hear from Afro-Latine playwrights and have their works read by professional actors here and heavily supported by the Latinx Theater Commons. We had a wonderful kickoff where we talked about what it meant. This year, our theme is The Water Remembers, because it's the 20th year commemoration of Katrina, and just exploring this. We're going across the water, right? We're traveling across the water. It's the 20th year. It's like all of the ways that what water holds for everybody. And we had a kickoff event called The Overflow. And I said, well, what does it mean to be a part of the overflow? And there's like all these biblical references to overflow. Because not to get too churchy, but I just re-looked at what it meant to operate out of overflow. You know what I mean? And I think before I had misinterpreted that to mean that I should be like, I'm still pouring. But actually the root of that scripture and that understanding is like, I'm not supposed to be pouring at all. I'm supposed to be so full that whatever comes out because I can't hold it blesses those around me. That means I'm not actually pouring.
Yeah.
That was like a mind, like completely.
I like that.
So that's what I'm thinking about. How are we already in that way? Like, how do we already have overflow? And then also, how can We Will Dream become this beautiful overflow where, like, just being here with whatever offerings are being offered by the artists and the speakers and the talent, where just being in the room, you just catch a little bit of that. People not even necessarily having to do a whole lot to work or labor, but it's like you're in the room and you are there close enough to get what flows out, because it's so full, that it's like what flows out. So that's what I've been thinking a lot about, that and water.
I think that would mean, like, I think everyone that is around, just continuing to encourage people to utilize what their strengths are, and I guess figuring out, especially on the creative side, like how you are able to creatively not give your best work, but just in a way where it's just, you don't have to think too hard. Like on my end, like I can set up cameras and do video, and like that's something that I don't have to really think about because I'm used to it. And it's something, even though it took me a little time to learn, like it's one of those things that I can now overflow and like teach others to do, and I still don't feel like I'm like it's so laborsome on my
I'm
end.
so like proud of you. Can we just stop and just say how like When we first started working together, like, I don't even know now, like what, 5 years ago,
It
6
was
years ago?
You, I think I remember you like reached out to me to do like a video or something. It was like one of those like you asked like a bunch of folks, and it was like clipped together. I think it might have been during the pandemic. I don't know. I can't remember.
And then when we first started thinking about what it meant to be part of the dream team, I I was like, have you ever thought about doing this and this and this? And I remember you being like, what? And I was just like, yeah, like this media, da, 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 da. And I was just like, okay, maybe that's crazy. So I'm just so happy to see you working in your giftedness and at such a high level, and like allowing people to tap into like and connect with what you do, because you do it so well.
Thank you.
And like, this is what it looks like to like move in your purpose.
Well, I mean, I have to thank you. I mean, we giving out flowers now, and we'll give out flowers later. But like, if it weren't for you, Lauren, I mean, you were the one that was like, after the festival, you're like, you need to start a company. You need. I was like, oh, I guess I could. Like, you just did the whole festival. I was like, yeah, you're right. And I mean, not even a couple of months later, I was like, all right. And it was crazy because like I didn't even think of like Triple Threat Media just came to me. It was something that I didn't even have to think about. Like, you know how sometimes we have issues trying to figure out what we want to name our company. It clicked.
That's like, when you know it's real.
Yeah.
When it's like, that makes sense. And you can't even describe what that click is to people. Like, people are like, well, how do you know something's gonna work? I was like, it's just like a thing, it's just like a click, like that makes sense.
Yeah.
And all the ways my logic model works, that hits all the things, and it just, you know.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying, Brian?
I feel you. I know that click.
Yeah.
I know it.
But I don't know. I feel like ever since I've done and started Triple Threat Media, like I realized like my gift in that world, and I've always had that like that niche, but didn't realize like I could utilize it in that way. It just never occurred to me until you mentioned it. I was like, oh, yeah, I could do this. So thank you, Lauren. I really like. And now I'm going across seas.
Yes, to film.
Yeah. Look, y'all, I'm international now.
We international, baby.
Y'all can't tell me nothing. Okay?
I want to get some. I waited too long, but I wanted some Onaja shirts that I could wear over there. Like, thanks to the lie, thanks to the lie, thanks to the lie.
Oh man,
I love her, by the way. She is my energy moving forward.
Yeah. I want to address just like where we are in this country, for us to even have the opportunity to go over to our homecoming to Africa, because of everything that's going on right now. At least at the time of this recording, I can't even keep up with the news. I don't keep up with the news anymore because it's just too much. But like there's been so many talks, even like when current president became president again, like people were like, oh, it's time to go. Well, we got to get out of here. We got to get out of here. And, you know, I think there's arguments on both sides where some people are like, why are you running? And then there's other people like, yeah, just get out of here. How are y'all feeling about that? Like, obviously we are here, we live here, but like, how are y'all feeling about getting a little break from the country in that way? Like, from this country, sorry.
You gotta be specific, because some of us live in the country, in this country. So you gotta.
Oh, you're right. Yeah. No, I just mean United States in general, considering like what's going on, and like also some people not even be able to get let back in for whatever reason. Like, but one of the things when I told somebody I was going to Africa, they're like, "Oh, well, make sure you have a lawyer on you." I was like.
That's what my mama said, and
Yeah.
I was like, "Oh no, they might not let me back." Oh,
right, I was
no.
like, oh, I guess I'll have to stay in Africa then.
Guess I live in Ghana now. So sad. See my children.
And you got any thoughts? Because especially you, because you like in the country.
I was about to say, come on now, Bro Bridge.
What's the question?
How you feeling about all this stuff going on politically, like the times we're in? Getting an escape in this moment, running, this idea of running or like leaving the United States versus staying, and like the argument about not running away. People trying to get out of here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. This is what I understand. 2020 was like a hard year, but it was the most transformative year for me as an artist, because I think when times get hard, um, art is what rings through because it's true art is just reflecting life and telling truth. So I am not surprised to see a resurgence of something along those lines, if not even deeper this time. Like to see where it goes. I feel like I'm in a resurgence again. Um, so I'll just see where the wave takes me. As far as going to Africa during this time, there's a lot of question marks about a lot of different things that I can't put energy into, which might be ignorant or naive of me, but I just can't put energy into it. Uh, what I am, what I focus on is the fact that it seems like a lot of truth is being suppressed now, and maybe there's a truth that's we've always never known that I might be in a position to understand something a little bit deeper than I've ever understood before. And as an artist and as a human, as a black man in this world, I just want to focus in on that and not the things that are meant to distract us and scare us, to not, I guess, discover those things. So that's where I lean in on that. And I live in Robridge. There's not always a lot going on. I would be a fool to not take advantage of the opportunities that bestow upon me because of fear. I think that's what holds a lot of my people back. I think that's why a lot of people look to me because it at least appears that I move forward when I often feel like I'm standing still. So I don't know if that answers the question, but that's my thoughts.
No, that answered it perfectly, Brian. No, that answered it perfectly. I really enjoy that outlook too, because like you said, like you can never grow if you don't face your fears. So,
Well, I'm a runner. I'm a runner. I am committed to running. I feel like as long as
Yeah.
I'm running, that is unfortunately in this context the alignment that I have with my freedom and liberation is to be in a constant state of escape and maroonage. What grounds me in this moment or stops me is quite literally my husband. But I think that when you talk about people who want to go and people who want to stay, one of the things I'm experiencing, and I think that I share this with some people who want to find other places to be or want to seek another outcome, is that it's not a political decision. It's a instinctive clock. It is a feeling that it is time to go. And I just explained this to my husband the other day. It's not about me saying I want to go because I don't like Trump. Or like I'm scared even necessarily. It's like spirit saying, be prepared to leave this place if you need to. Don't be scared of leaving. Because a lot of times I find that in conversations with people who are like, I'm going to stay, it's fear keeping them planted. I think about my ancestors on plantation and what kept them there and not wanting to escape. And it's fear of the unknown, fear of what's outside of this. This is bad, but at least I know what this is about versus going out here and not knowing anything, not knowing how I'm going to eat, not knowing how I'm going to do any of this stuff, right? And I think that that has always been kind of like a dynamic in our community of the tension between which type of fear keeps us bound and who can transcend different types of being fearful. And so, I don't know, I'm running. And also what keeps me grounded in this moment is the excitement. Because I know I'm a scholar of history, and I know that we are in the second race nadir, right? So this was the period, the first one was between Reconstruction and all the way through Jim Crow. And during this time, you had some of the most violent acts committed against Black people, and you had the most violent laws against Black people codified, right? But you also had some of the most dynamic Black institutions, some of the most powerful organizing. At this time, our institutions were emerging and defining themselves. You have, the Harlem Renaissance happening during this time. You have all of these exciting things. And so one of the things that keeps me, okay, I can be here, is to be a part of that type of creativity, which I yearn to be a part of at all times throughout my whole entire life. It's like everyone is having that kind of conversation. We're not talking about the same things all the time, but like we're having conversations about like what can we build together. And I can never get people to talk about that before. You know what I'm saying? Everybody was still very much like, this today is not a real thing that could happen. But now we know like this is a real thing that can happen. What are we going to do when we are resegregated? How, a good friend of mine, Gia Hamilton, who runs New Orleans African American Museum, said this at a panel that we were on together. She said, how are we embracing the celebration of the impending racial segregation? And like someone was like, I've never thought about it as embracing the celebration of it. Like, what we gonna do with our all black spaces, and our all black times, and our all black things? What are we gonna do with the $1 trillion worth of black spending dollars when we can't spend them anywhere else but with us? What are we building? What cross-cultural connections are we building? We're going to Ghana, like, what is going to come of all of this? So that's exciting. I don't know if it's enough to keep me in America, but for now, it's like that is a conversation I've been yearning for, and it seems like we're getting there. Like, we're about to have that conversation for real, for real, for real.
Yeah.
So, thanks, Trump. Not to belittle the people who are obviously suffering and dying, in this moment.
Yeah, but
but also like there are but that's always been the dynamic, the violence, the innovation, the fear and the soothe and the calm and the respite and the balm. It's always, we always have, like, this is what this country is.
Yep.
That's what it means to live here.
Yeah. It's an art defining moment as well. I mean, these are the times when the artists in the past, these are the moments when the artists became themselves, when they became who we study. So to be in the energy of that, I'm like, what's going on for me? Like I'm having all of these moments of home, and I feel like I'm stepping into who I am supposed to be, who I already am, and I stand in that proudly, confidently, and I'll be taking a lot of opinions anymore. Not with the same grace I used to.
You feel like you take a lot of opinions about your work, about your art?
I think a lot of people, yes, I think as a young artist or a Black artist or an artist that people have proximity to, they feel the need to tell me what they think about whatever I'm doing, as opposed to listening and trying to understand what it is I'm doing first. And I do get kind of, it's a mixed feeling for me. I'm not so far removed or from myself that I can't help myself to take critique, but not everyone knows how to give critique. It's never constructive. It's always just their opinion.
And all critique is not equal.
No, so I mean, I'm not on a platform big enough where I can't not say no. Don't tell me that. People are still going to give it to me, but I stand on business a little bit more. I defend my art more because I understand that what people don't seem to understand is that they think I'm just doing a play or whatever, but I am called for assignment.
And come on now.
Because you don't understand it. Who said you were supposed to?
Hello.
Like it wasn't for you to understand.
Maybe it wasn't for you.
And I don't think this of myself, but it's said often with me. I don't think this of myself, but the word genius is thrown around with me. Whatever. Right?
Okay.
And this is the idea that a lot of people feel like they would understand a genius. Like, if that's true about me and you don't understand, you don't like something.
Shit,
Yep.
Brian.
Yep.
Talk your shit. If that's the truest thing.
It's like, you must not be a genius then, I guess.
I'm just
art
coming
is
out of
about,
that too.
thinking differently, someone coming and doing a different thing. And I feel a lot of people want me to conform to how theater is or how stories are always told. And,
You are not an imitation.
It has to end a certain way, or it has these kind of characters. I'm like, that's not the assignment that was given to me. That's not what I've understood. And I'm the one that's writing it. So, like, whose opinion matters more, yours or mine?
Yeah.
So when it comes to critique, lately, I've just been kind of like trying to decipher what I need to hear, because everyone will have something, and you can ask 1,000 people, they all will find something different in it. So it's kind of like, well, why am I listening to 1,000 people then? You know,
Yeah, if you try to incorporate all that critique, you're gonna be left with a mess.
yeah. So
Have you seen that meme of like the writer who took all the critique, and then what's left is the piece of paper with the slice of pizza on it, with the yarn, with the this? Is like, here's my play, here's my thing, and it's like, what is this? Everybody's opinion. That's what this is.
Yeah.
I kind of just have come out of something similar, but from a different standpoint, around ending and continuing to heal from people pleasing, and also just rejecting this idea of being the mule. Or the ship, or the vessel that's supposed to get you from point A to point B.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Yeah. And also naming things directly that are not, like when things aren't right, instead of beating around the bush or really spending so much time and energy trying to predict how me speaking directly to something is going to impact the other person, just saying it, like, this is not right. This didn't happen. I waste so much time second guessing myself and trying to make sure that people are not upset with me. And I'm tired. Like, I'm tired of that. And it's gonna indicate it impacts your health. So I'm committed to speaking directly to the things. And especially as I'm getting older, you know, I turned 42 on Friday. So especially now, I was just telling someone, as you get older, I feel like you become, because you have to, more clear about what will and will not work for you.
Yeah.
And I need services. I'm gonna tell you right now, I need services, and I used to be ashamed, like, as you get older, you get like ashamed of that a little bit, but I need services. I'm sorry, I have some needs. Yeah. And I should have needs at this point. Yeah. If you get to this point and you ain't got no needs, you know what I'm saying? I should have things that I need to function well. You know what I mean? And so just naming what those things are, being unapologetic about it, and when there's a boundary being crossed, naming that directly, and also just remembering that people show up to you as an amalgamation of their experiences, what they've seen, what they know, and it's not ever actually about you. It's never actually about you. It's always about them. They're projecting onto you, but it's usually never all about you.
Yeah, I'm realizing that too. And I catch myself, because sometimes I want to be emotionally reactive about something. I'm like, wait, hold on. Before you do that, like, is it worth it? Are they worth it? Are they worth your energy? Because I realize as I'm getting older as well, like, I can only put my energy in certain places, and it needs to be in places that are going to help refuel my energy. If it's already, you know, down there. And I mean, I even think about this upcoming trip, and I'm just like, I can't have anything around me that is going to deplete this energy, because I need my energy to be fully there for when we get there, just so I can take everything in, like, have all my senses ready to take it all in, all 5 senses, all 6 senses, whatever, all the senses. Because I know, like, this is definitely something I don't know. I need to go back and talk to some of my family members and people that I know, but I don't think anyone in my family has been to Africa either.
So you're like bringing their blood, you're bringing your bloodline with you back to the continent.
That's what, and I need to double check that, but I'm pretty certain I'm the first one. And if that's the case, I'm gonna touch that ground.
Bring a little bat with you. Can you bring dirt back? I don't know if they're gonna stop you in customs. Like, you got dirt? What you got? Child, let me not say too much, but just know I'm gonna have some stuff when I come back. Just know.
Yeah, I might take some seashells and stuff. And
I want some shea butter.
Yeah, I want some hair products. I don't know if I can bring hair products back, but I want, if I can.
That's where it come from. Raw shea.
Do you think that they'll like be able to do like braids and stuff? Do they do braids and stuff there? Okay,
yes.
I want to get my braids done there.
Yes,
for sure. I'm gonna keep my hair out natural and then get my braids done. Oh, I can't wait. Oh, what you gonna do, Brian? What you think about partaking in, getting, buying, gifting, receiving?
I know I'm doing the naming ceremony because I paid for it.
Yeah, I know that's right.
I paid for it too.
What if they tell you your name, Brian?
Like, y'all show, y'all show.
Y'all sure? Y'all sure? 'Cause that was my name there too. So
Uh, I don't even know. I don't even know what. For me, it's going to be really about pushing myself past um, a lot of my personal comforts, or not even comforts, because they're not comfortable. Like a lot of my personal walls that I have. So that's what I'm excited about. I've been doing it already this year, but trying different foods and.
oh yeah, because you don't like to eat different foods. I just remember that.
Yeah,
Brian,
yeah,
what you about
Yeah.
to eat,
You're
bruh?
gonna have no choice.
yeah. Well, the thing is, I just might not eat a lot, but but I will eat and I'll try different things out, and you never know. But this is what it's about. Like this is what growth looks like, for me. And I'm blessed, and I feel so grateful to still be being able to grow. A lot of people stop growing after a certain point in their life. So I feel really honored to challenge myself that way. I'm gonna just challenge myself as many times as I can throughout the trip to do something that I wouldn't do, or uh, eat something that I wouldn't eat. Push myself if I feel like I'm having a little social anxiety. Go ahead, talk to that person. I don't know. I really I have no. I have no. When I went to New York, when I got there, I made a to-do list of like this. It was very generic things I've seen in movies, but I don't have a lot of context about life in Africa to really kind of do that. So I'm just trying to be open to the experience.
Yeah. I love
Yeah.
that. I love that.
I just want to be by some water.
Yeah. I want to meet some animals. I also want to. I
You
want
said
to
manimals?
meet some animals.
Oh, okay. I'm about to say manimals.
You say you want to meet some animals?
Yeah, I don't know if they're gonna have like.
I don't know if we're gonna see
Like some-
animals like
We're not gonna
that.
see it,
Maybe goats.
Yeah, like anything, like just something that is on that land that isn't over here. I don't know.
I'm good on that.
I feel like in terms of this conversation, I mean, we're going to have so much more to talk about once we're actually back and settled and able to process, and hopefully we'll have many other connections to then be able to go back at some point.
Oh, I got a 5-year visa, so I have a
Oh, you sure
multi-entry visa. That's one of the things I did. I'm as a runner. A negotiation with myself is I can come back as much as I like over the next 5 years without having to do that visa process all over again.
Yeah, well, I thought about that. Well, I'm gonna do it next time though, because I know I already know I'm gonna be back.
I'm trying to go back in August.
Okay.
I'm trying to work it out. I'm gonna see when I get there, like, how can I make this work? I have a sabbatical in August.
Oh, nice.
So I'm trying to see, like, could I, like, fake live in Ghana for a month?
Yeah.
I know. And that's their coldest month.
It is.
So I know I'm gonna love it.
Okay.
So yeah, and then I get to avoid
And you don't have to deal with the humidity
hurricanes.
here. Yeah. Ooh.
and Katrina anniversary and all that stuff.
Yeah, we're gonna see how that works out. I mean, also, audience, since we last had our last episode, New Orleans had a whole snowstorm. And
Tornadoes.
The last time, yeah, and tornadoes, and yesterday it flooded a lot. But I know when it snowstormed or we had snow in 2004, the Christmas or something like that, right before the winter before Katrina hit. And I think for a lot of us, considering it's the 20th anniversary, we're all like, just like, anxious about what's to come with this hurricane season. So,
But if I can be where the hurricanes roll off of instead of where they land, that is the ideal. You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
And all the saying about that being the ancestors coming to wreak havoc. You know.
Yeah, that's true. Okay. I might need to get a little extra visa to get back out there.
For August.
Well, I want to thank you, Brian and Lauren, for having this conversation with me before we head over there.
I love that, head over there.
Head over there. I know this is going to be a wonderful experience for all of us, and I could not imagine anyone else that I could experience this with. I feel like we're going to, it's just like, it's going to be a core memory,
We're going to cut
it's
up.
something that we're going to remember for the rest of our lives. So, like, I'm taking every minute in. I have all my different cameras I'm bringing. Like, I want to shoot like music videos, everything. I don't know. Like, I have like, and that's the crazy thing. And I'll say this before I leave. Like, the last couple of months, like, yeah, I've been doing creative work, but I've been doing it for a lot of other people, which still brings me joy, but I haven't had a chance to really focus on my own creative work, which I feel like I always need that balance, and I feel like being there will help tap into that creative juice again, because I feel like I've lost some of that.
It will.
Yeah.
It will.
So I'm hoping.
I'm believing it. So
But also, like, if y'all have anything that y'all want to do, like, I don't know, a little twirl on the beach here or whatever, please. I'm ready to film. I'm ready to like just get all of the angles. Like, look, I got y'all.
I will need some. Oh, by the way, y'all, I had a goal for myself, so I wanted to complete like a full draft of the play that I'm working on before I went to Africa, and I also wanted to complete Where the Sugar's Still Sweet, and I did. So there's a full copy of the show, the video of it.
OMG. I would love to read that. Maybe we could organize a reading one night in one of our rooms with people who are there.
Oh, the play?
Yeah, maybe of Where the Sugar Still Sweet, or the play the draft you just finished. That would be amazing.
That would be sweet.
Yeah.
Well, I love our delegation. Like you, J.Mix, I feel like I can't imagine who else I would rather be there with. So I love this little We Will Dream delegation of folks coming from Louisiana to
the
Accra to Cape Coast. I know.
And it's amazing because being a theater artist in Louisiana, this was not in the vision. So I'm so grateful, like within the past few years, that being a Black theater artist in Louisiana has had a lot more weight for me than ever before. So I'm really grateful to you, Lauren, J.Mix, and all the people who helped to make that really a reality, Yeah. And just know, like, I know 2023 was a lot of work, but it did so much good.
It was so worth it, though.
It did.
Like, I remember being exhausted, but I remember more of just how happy I was, because it was
people had asked me about it for over a year, and then to look online and see the archive, that's when it hit me how much is documented about all of. I look back at that and I'm like, I can't believe we did all of that.
Yeah.
I can't believe you had a play being produced, Brian. You were the graphic designer. You were the promoter. J.Mix, you created a whole other festival a virtual festival that you created and produced alone. You know what I mean? Like, I just don't know. I remember days, like, things would come up in, like, on social media reminders. And I was like, I remember running from an intro meeting with the cast to the plane to go over here to do this. I got to come to the bit. I was just running like a mad woman from thing to thing to thing. And now I don't even have energy most days to do like half of what a day during We Will Dream in 2023 was. I don't know what type of crack cocaine we were on.
We were on it because I was driving back and forth, and I was like,
But I think the drive for me from 2023 was just the fact that we had so many creative minds I could see the lasers, like the creative ideas coming. I was like, I can visualize that. Let me film that. Like, let's figure this out. Like, I think I was just motivated by the creative energies and like the vision.
The housing.
Yeah.
The transportation. The flights, the Liberation Ball. We had the ancillary events.
Yeah.
The people who travel from all over the nation to gather and have their convenings and things with us. We hosted like over 10 national convenings over the course of 3 months. It was 3 months.
It was 3 months.
It was 3 months.
It was 3 months, and we planned like months before. Like, we started our planning in like September of the year before. So it was like over half a year's worth of We Will Dream. But I'm telling you, it was 100% worth it. I go back and look at those videos. I look back at the archives. I'm just like, y'all, we did that.
And everyone's like, with everything happening financially, what I'm saying, in the No Journey Deferred is not a nonprofit, but in the world of art, would you have done it different in terms of the amount of investment? And I still say no. I said it then because, there were people who were like, maybe you only do readings or maybe you do this. And I say that now. I am so proud for most of the artists there. They had not experienced that level of financial investment into their work. And I think that's important because I don't know what their career or journeys are going to be. I don't think that'll be the most that people will ever make, but I like that event was anchored with people remember, like, my play was produced fully. I got paid to be there. I was flown out. I was put into a hotel for the time of the rehearsal. Like, I like to think about that we employed over 60 Black theater makers. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, and so I just, and that was important to do. And I would do it again the same way if I had to. I would invest that level of investment in that moment, in 2023 for those artists.
Yeah. I just when I was in New York, I got to go to the Schomburg Center, and there they have all of these documents of I forget what the term they call it. I think they either call it documents or papers or for different artists, and it's basically a culmination of all of the things that their archives, and I was thinking about legacy for myself, and I think about legacy for the We Will Dream Festival and No Dream Deferred, and there's just so much there to discover, still. So,
and I've been thinking about that too. Where do these archives live? Do they live at Amistad? Do they live at Schomburg? I'm trying to figure that out actually right now because No Dream Deferred is coming up in 2027 when we have the festival. That'll be our 10-year anniversary of No Dream Deferred.
Wow.
And what does that mean? And like having a moment to stop and to consider impact, right? Because we know things shifted when No Dream Deferred came around, but like what shifted? Like is, our mission was like for art leaders of color to be the norm and not the exception. Has that changed in the city? I would say it has. I mean, you look at NOLA Project got a Black artistic director.
Sure does.
I don't think it's no, you know what I mean? Like things have shifted, I think about the type of works that are being done. This idea of a Black play in February is pretty much eradicated. You have people doing plays written by Black folk all year round. You know what I mean? So, not eradicated, but like you see more, you know what I mean? Yeah. And so, really taking stock of like, what is this narrative? What is the impact? Have we achieved the mission? Are we still on the road? And like, who holds that story? This place, the ACC, is that same thing, Brian. Like, I remember when the question came about whether I was going to do the André Cailloux Center or not, and Adela had just passed, and Adela was like one of our founding steering committee members for No Dream Deferred, and a huge supporter of the work. And it was like the morning after she died, and she just kept asking, even when she was alive, she would ask me, where does the legacy live? And I would always reject that question and just say like, oh, legacy lives in people. And she would just keep asking, but where does it live? And I think about Baba John O'Neill, and I think about the Dashiki Theater Project, and I think about Free Southern Theater, and I think about Ethiopian Theater, and I think about all these spaces, and I'm like, I look around and sometimes I feel like, where do the legacies of those artists and those institutions and organizations, where does that live in the city? It can't actually just live in people because people die. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So it has to have a mechanism for being passed on, and sometimes you need a shelter or a shape to that. And so I'm really thinking about even the ACC being a holder for that. Archive. Like a place where the archive becomes visceral. It's alive here. It may not be in pages or in a book, but it's where you can see, a play that is the living legacy of the work of John O'Neill and Story Circle, right? Or you can see something that is in the lineage of, Ethiopian theater or Delegate or, Carol Sutton or Sherry Marina or all these people who we know. Chakula, lifting up Chakula every day. And we definitely are walking in the legacy of Chakula. Chakula was a huge part of how we even envision like what it is we're supposed to be doing. So, yeah.
And I don't think we celebrate enough that the first year, with all that we did, we also produced an award-winning show.
And yes, we did. We
Yep.
definitely
We
did.
did.
A major
We
award
did.
win, not just one, several awards.
We're not done.
We have a lot to archive and a lot to talk about, a lot to stand on, you know.
Yeah.
And we can't
Yeah.
walk around with our head down. Someone just told me that the other day, actually a banker who I was talking to about this space. And she said, when you go and have these conversations, she said, hold your head up. She was like, the work being done here is tremendous. You are the leader in the room. She's like, don't think. I said, well, I don't know. We just two. She said, don't do any of that. She said, don't. She was like, you have done tremendous work. You should lead like that. You should walk in the room knowing that. And I feel like that's all of us. Like, you know, I think the 2023 festival for a long time, I felt so beat down by it that I wasted so much time when I could have been pointing to all of the beautiful things out of it. But I just felt beat down by it. I was like, I can't celebrate it too much because different people have different opinions of the experience, or different people have this or that. And so I was like, I didn't talk about it. I just kind of just was trying to move through it. And I think that was, I'm reclaiming my time. I'm reclaiming my time, and I'm wanting to lift up that even in the face of so many potential challenges, something beautiful was created, something award-winning was created. People met people for the first time during that festival. More artistic collaborations were born out of that.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
People met their daddy for the first time in the parking lot. Stop it! Because it's a black festival. Don't ever forget that. It's a black festival.
Hilarious. Well,
Absolutely.
in the words of Pat Smith, he has actually, that song is coming out really soon. It should be out by the time this music video, I'm sorry, but by the time this video comes out. But it's, the words are, too busy searching for sunshine. Never took time to find beauty in gray. Too busy searching for blue skies. Never took time to dance in the rain. Too busy searching for perfect. I'm blind to the beauty of life. And when you said that, that literally, it took me back to that song. And that's coming out on the 25th. So,
Oh, can I say it as an evocation from Wonder Wander City Park
Yes.
that I've been thinking about? Because you know the art you make, I don't know if y'all find this, but when you make art, everything in your life starts to tie into the central theme of that art for some reason. Mm-hmm. So we had this evocation that was written into it that was gorgeous that I'm thinking about as we travel. All that I needs me and knows me by name.
ooh,
I call upon the land and all the lives lived here to help me see the way.
that's what I'm talking about.
And I'm thinking about that as we travel to Ghana, that everything that I need needs me and knows me by name. And I'm ready to hear my name called. Well, not for real like that, because I say when you hear your name called, you about to die. So but I feel like I will felt known in Ghana. I will feel familiar. I'll feel familiar in Ghana.
Likewise. Well, thank y'all.
Yes.
Thank
All
you
right.
so much for joining us before our journey. And y'all will hear about our journey
We're
later.
going to see Brian in his naming ceremony become Brian. See me slain in the spirit for 3 days. And a music video featuring J.Mix.
Yeah,
With some goats.
Yeah. Look, the ghost gonna be singing too. Look, we put them to work. All right, y'all. Thank you so much, and I hope that you have a lovely day.
All right, I'll see y'all in Ghana.
Bye. See you in Ghana. Bye.
Safe travels, Lauren. Happy early birthday.
Thank you.